Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am coming back with another video of how to do these beautiful nails. If you guys would like to watch, stay tuned. First, we are going to be using the clear acrylic from Young Nails and also their monomer. What we are going to be doing is we are going to be putting a little bit of acrylic on the nails. And you're going to want to make it as thin as possible just because we're going to have to put another layer of acrylic to put the encapsulation. So this is just so there'll be some acrylic on your natural nail. Okay. So what we did is we are going to be using this nail art. I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like a foil, but not exactly. And so it comes like this. Usually it'll come in just a strip, and then you could cut it to whatever size. And you can do a lot of different things with this, but this is what I'm going to be showing you guys today. And once I'm going to stick this down, and then once I do that, I am going to show you what to do. Okay, so what I did is I'm cutting all these pieces into smaller pieces, just so it'll be easier once I apply it to the nail, just because if you apply it in a hole, I had tested on these two nails, and I didn't really like the way it had came out. So on the second one, I feel like it applied a lot better. So what you're going to be doing is just cutting this piece off. Make sure it's enough to cover one nail. I like to do it a little bit bigger, just in case. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be cutting it diagonal just because it gives you a lot more room, and especially since these nails, they're stiletto nails, they need a point anyways. Okay. So now that we have done that, see, we have enough. This will be the tip of it. And then I like to just crumble it all up at once, ball it up in my fingers. Okay, and it's going to end up being like that. And I'm going to just do that to this piece as well. When you do this, I suggest doing, instead of balling it up in all small pieces like that, get this whole piece and crumble it up, or a good section, like if you're going to use it for a full set. But if you are only going to be using it on a couple nails, this is a better way to do it, just so you don't waste so much of it. Okay, now that we did that, since this covers the whole nail, I am going to want to cut it in half, just because it applies a lot easier. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we are going to get resin or a nail glue, something that doesn't dry as quick, just because it does take a second to put them on. So what I'm going to do is just paint the tip of the nail with the resin, making sure I get every surface, and then I am going to be getting like a good size of this. I'll go with this one. You could use tweezers to apply this. I'm just using my fingers just because it's easier for me, but you could use whatever you'd like. Okay. So, and then I'm gonna go back just because that didn't really stick that well. And I am going to be pushing it down. And then you see how there's nothing on the edge right here? I am just going to get this small little piece and stick it down. Okay, and keep in mind that I had put acrylic all on the top halves of it. And then I am going to be putting the resin going down. And then I'm going to get one of these square pieces. And I am just going to be pressing it down. And you want to make sure you get it all the way down, just because if there is any lifted parts, you're going to have to make sure you get the acrylic under there. Otherwise, there'll be a gap on the side. So this nail, you could see that I kind of picked a little bit, something that was a little bit too small. So you could see the side walls. But if you could cut a little slivers and crumple them up and put them on the side. Okay, so we're just going to repeat the same steps on the rest of the nails. You could even do like half a nail or do this with like a French tip where you just end up getting the bottom of them. This glue, it dries pretty quick, not too quick, but quick enough for it to stick down and you not to have to worry about that. And even if there's a piece of the, I can't see if you could tell, if there's like a piece of the foil stuff sticking over it, you don't need to worry about that. Just because when we file, all of the stuff that's sticking out of the nail, it will end up going away. I would say just try to be as clean as you can around the cuticles, just because that's the part that's the hardest to try and get rid of. The foil is up here. If you have a drill, it's a lot easier than if you hand file. So that's something that I could recommend to you guys. Or you could even fold it over. And when you fold it over, just make sure that you get all of it. And you see, even though we cut it in two, you still get a very seamless look. You can't even tell that you did two different two foils. Okay, make sure those sides are down. I'm just gonna put a little piece of foil right there on the side. If I could pick it up. This would be, doing the details like that around the edges would be a lot better if you ended up doing a, if you use tweezers to do that. So just keep that in mind. And just try and get as much as you could off of the sides of your nails. If you can, you could file it away with a file. But mine, it doesn't really have too much, so I just tried to rip it off. But if you notice you have to apply a lot of force to take it off, then I would just wait till you have to file it, just because it'll rip and it'll end up bringing it up and you'll end up having to replace that whole foil. And so now what I'm doing is I'm just putting the acrylic over this design. If you guys want to, you guys could add different things to it if you wanted. I'm just going to leave it plain like this and maybe design a little bit after. And then you're going to want to make sure you're just getting all those sides and you're not leaving anything uncovered. So I am going to be doing this with all the nails and I will be right back. Now what we are going to be doing is we're just going to go back and shape all of the nails, making sure you get around the cuticles and everything. I like to go around right here just because where the foil was, just to try and get some of that extra foil off, just because I don't like the way it looks when it stays there. So I just like to try and get as much of it off as possible. You see, and it comes off very easily. And when you're drilling around the cuticles, you don't want to hit the cuticles, so just try and stay on the nails. And what will happen is when you are drilling this, it will come off nice and round at the top. So once we have the top coats on them and everything, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to see right now just because it doesn't have the top coat. And I feel like with having the top coat on it, it kind of magnifies everything. When it's like this, it's not, so you don't really notice too much. But when you are filing this, you want to make sure that you don't go too thin, just because otherwise if you do, it will, you will end up cutting into your design, and you don't want that. We are all done filing. What we are going to be doing is getting this Apres nail art ink in number 6. This is a fuchsia color. I'm just going to put it up at the top right here just so I don't end up making a mess. So what I'm going to do is just splatter this on the nail over this design. And then go back to the ones that you feel like might need more. You want it to be pretty opaque. You don't want it to end up washing out just because you're not going to end up being able to see it. These are going to be so pretty. And I didn't even apply anything to the nail yet, because usually with the Apres nail art inks, you are supposed to use them with the matte top coat when you apply them. But with this, I did not, and so far, I feel like it's pretty opaque. I like to go back, dip in a little bit, reapply. Okay, so this is what they look like so far. I'm going to add another color, but just a little bit. I'm not going to do too much. And then this is the number 5. It's pink. And I'm just going to apply it the same way that I had applied the other one. And all I'm going to be doing is going back and adding . Okay, I'm going just to let that dry for a little bit, and I am going to apply a top coat. The Apres nail art inks, they do require a 2 minute to 3 minute dry, I believe. Let me double check on that. Oh, it's 3 to 5 minutes for them to be completely dry so you don't smear them. So this is what they look like right after I had them. I'm all done letting them dry. I'm going to apply a top coat. You could even put a matte top coat if you wanted. Matte, I feel like it doesn't really show the underneath very much. And that's what I want, is it to show that. And this is going to be the last one. Alright, I'm going to pop these into the light for a couple or around 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Alright, this is the final look. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as usual, I'll be back with more videos. Bye!